Hi, how are you?
See you again. Yesterday.
Indeed.
Just to remind you.
Well, you move fast. Okay, good.
First of all, the original one was 17 years ago.
Yeah.
I believe you're quite young when you first saw it. And what was your feeling to the original version, and why make this new version of the Mummy?
Well, the original version was the Boris Karloff version that was made a long time before I was born. And I've loved all the Mummy movies, but
Me too.
I know, good. I'm glad. But I took most of my inspiration, I think, from the original. I loved, obviously, Boris Karloff's performance is a classic, and the monster design is a classic, and we all wanted to honor the spirit of those films, of all the films, and yet bring something new to the table. So while the old films take place in the past, ours takes place modern day. And it's different. Obviously, I was looking for a new story for the Mummy, a new way to tell that story.
Right.
And so by making the Mummy a woman, a new story door opened up, and obviously that story is very different. And the movie stars Tom Cruise, which is also very different. So I think if you're a fan of the original Mummy movies, you'll see a lot of things you recognize. But if you aren't familiar with them, this is a new world.
Right, and speaking about Tom Cruise, everybody thinks it's more like a Mission Impossible, new version of it, the action sci-fi. So did you, because you're a superhero producer as well, right? And did you implement anything with a, Mission Impossible or superhero element in this new version?
I didn't really think of it that way. I thought of it more as, when you go to a Tom Cruise movie, you expect a massive event.
Right.
And you expect action at the scale of the kinds of stunts that he delivers in the Mission Impossible movies. And I've made one of the Mission Impossible movies with him, and I kind of know what that world is, and I'm a huge fan of those films. And I think modern audiences, when they go to the movies, they need a big event. They need an adventure and something really fun and something that's worth going to the movies for.
Right.
So we knew we had to deliver that. But what I was really focused on was making it a bit scarier than the originals were, and also focus on character, and focus on Amanet's character, the Mummy's character, and Tom's character, and I always feel like the big explosions and all the noise that's really fun is so much more satisfying when it comes through your connection to the characters in the movies. That was really what I was focused on more than anything. But I don't see that there's anything wrong with delivering spectacle at the size of Mission Impossible. I think that's really fun too.
And Tom, he always loves to do the stunt by himself. This one, I can tell a lot of things he did by himself.
Yeah.
Which part is the most difficult and challenging one that you really worry about him?
Yeah. Well, shooting the sequence in zero gravity was very challenging.
Right. Exactly.
Because we were
is
shooting.
Is it real?
It was all real. And so the way that works is that the plane rockets up into the sky at the speed of a rocket, and then it evens out, and then it free falls for 22 seconds straight to Earth. And when it free falls, you go weightless. And we had 22 seconds to roll camera and get that sequence, so we did it 64 times. 64 times, because the thing is, as much as you try and control it, you really can't. You never know what's going to happen, And that's the fun of it, is the spontaneity and the magic that comes from not really knowing how they're going to move around the space. And yes, obviously it makes it harder, but I think it makes the experience much more satisfying. I think you as the audience get to feel like you're like in it and you're there, and that's really him on the screen, and that's really Annabelle, and they're really spinning through the plane weightlessly. So it's pretty exciting.
And very intense, I can imagine. 64?
64 takes.
Anybody throw up?
Everybody. Except for Tom and Annabelle.
Really?
They held it together, yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
There were actually, it was funny, some people who thought they were going to be very strong weren't. And then the people who thought they were going to throw up were totally strong. So you never really know until you're in zero gravity how your body's going to react to it.
And how do you prepare the safety for that scene? I mean, since it's really free drop.
All of the all of the chaos in the movie, believe me, it's all very regulated and planned in advance. And so we spend a lot of time figuring out how to do it. And that plane that we shot on is used for two reasons. It's used for scientific experiments, but it's also used for people who want to have the experience of going weightless on a plane.
Oh, really?
So it's built to have you bounce around the plane. There's no seats in the plane, or the seats are for the back.
Oh,
so the whole thing is outfitted for you to have that experience. So we were really doing what the plane was designed to do. it doesn't make it any less crazy to do it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Very exciting.
Yeah.
And I know The Mummy is shot in several different locations, and you do a lot of location scouting. Why not Taiwan?
I'd love to.
Very good history here.
Oh no, man, I'd love to. You know, we're opening the door to the dark universe now. It's gonna be all the monster films, and I'd love to come to Taiwan and shoot something here. I think what's exciting to me about all the monsters is they all have different stories and different mythologies, and every culture has different stories and mythologies. And
that's true.
The more that we can dig into the real mythologies and use that to tell the stories of the monsters, the better. So if you'll have us in Taiwan, it would be great to come here.
So since you're here, do you sense anything that might inspire you to make another monster movie? What kind of monster that you create for the Taiwan?
Well, it's funny. I don't know enough about. I mean, you're going to have to educate me on the culture, but what I find fascinating is when I was walking around the city, I saw that the whole city was surrounded by very dense mountains. And I thought, oh, that's probably a place where monsters would live, so maybe there's something in there.
You're totally right. And we have ghosts instead of monsters.
There you go. Well, that's...
Like something you can really see. Fantastic. It's like you can see through. Maybe they're full of
I love that idea.
different friends here.
I love that idea. That's a great idea. Ghosts would be a great addition to the monster universe, so for sure. But again, drawing from that mythology, I think, is what makes it exciting for me and for us. So if we could come to Taiwan, it would be great.
Yeah, definitely do that again.
Thank you.
I mean, we love the new franchise. And
oh, good.
Last question, the best reason to see the new version, brand new version of The Mummy?
You know, it's exciting, it's adventurous, it's funny, it's scary, it's emotional. It's all the reasons that you go to a big summer movie.
Right.
And if you're a fan of the originals, you'll see things you recognize. But if you want something totally different, or you don't even know the originals, this is a brand new experience. And it stars Tom Cruise and Russell Crowe, so it's an exciting adventure, and I'm looking forward to sharing it with you.
Great. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Pleasure to talk to you
Pleasure to talk to you too.